universe breathes. Inhale, exhale, a cosmic rhythm that echoes through the corridors of existence, unseen yet undeniable. It is a pulse felt not with the fingers, but with the soul, a silent vibration that hums beneath the surface of all things. This is the domain of the Kybalion, an ancient text whispered across centuries, carrying within its pages the distilled essence of Hermetic wisdom. To explore the Kybalion is to step into a labyrinth of thought and perception, where every turn reveals another layer of reality's hidden design. Its teachings are not mere words, they are keys that unlock doors to understanding the mechanics of existence itself. Imagine, for a moment, standing before a vast clockwork mechanism, its gears turning in perfect harmony, dictating the rise and fall of all things. Now shift your gaze to an infinite ocean stretching endlessly in every direction. On its surface, waves crash and dance, their movements chaotic and unpredictable. Yet beneath this turbulence lies a profound stillness, a depth untouched by the whims of the wind or the pull of the moon. These dual images, the precision of machinery and the fluidity of water, reflect the duality at the heart of the Kybalion. The interplay between order and chaos, structure and flow, the seen and the unseen. This duality, between the visible and the invisible, the transient and the eternal, is the heartbeat of the Kybalion. Its 7 principles act as lenses through which we can peer beyond the surface into the quiet, unyielding order that underpins all creation. They are mentalism, the all is mind; correspondence, as above, so below; as below, so above; vibration, nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates; polarity, everything is dual, everything has poles; rhythm, everything flows out and in, everything has its tides; cause and effect, every cause has its effect, every effect has its cause; gender, gender is in everything. Everything has masculine and feminine principles. These are not abstract notions, but living truths, as applicable to the motions of the stars as they are to the stirrings of the human soul. To study them is to engage in an act of remembrance, to recall something we've always known, buried beneath layers of distraction and illusion. Why these principles matter? Today, in an age dominated by technology, speed, and fragmentation, life often feels like a storm of disconnected events. The Hermetic teachings offer an antidote. They reveal the hidden threads that weave all things together. When viewed through this lens, chaos begins to reveal its order, confusion gives way to clarity, and seemingly random events align like constellations. In a grand design, consider the principle of polarity, which reminds us that opposites are 2 sides of the same coin. Hot and cold, light and dark, joy and sorrow all exist in relation to one another, inseparable and interdependent. To understand polarity is to recognize that life's dualities are not enemies to be conquered, but partners in a cosmic dance. This realization alone has the power to shift our perspective, soften the edges of our struggles, and illuminate the interconnectedness of all things. But why should we care about such lofty ideas? Why venture into the esoteric when the tangible demands of daily life press upon us so insistently? The answer lies in the transformative potential of Hermetic wisdom. These principles are not distant abstractions. They are tools for living more fully, more consciously. They teach us to navigate the currents of change with grace, to align ourselves with the natural flow of the universe rather than resist it. When applied, they become pathways to personal mastery, offering clarity amidst confusion, peace amidst chaos, and purpose amidst uncertainty. A journey of transformation. To grasp the principles is to hold a mirror up to the mind, to see where one has been operating under illusions of separation, rigidity, or powerlessness. The Kybalion does not ask for blind belief, but for experimentation. Test these laws, apply them, and observe their truth in action. The alchemists of old sought to turn lead into gold, but the true alchemy is the transmutation of the self, the refinement of perception, until one sees the world not as a collection of disparate fragments, but as a harmonious whole. So let us begin this journey, not as mere students, but as explorers of an inner cosmos, where every thought, action, and moment is part of a vast intelligent pattern. The principles await, timeless, patient, and infinitely revealing. The 7 pillars of Hermetic wisdom. To truly grasp the essence of the Kybalion, one must understand that its 7 principles are not isolated doctrines, but interconnected threads in a grand cosmic web. Each principle is a facet of a singular truth, like rays of light refracted through a prism, revealing the spectrum of existence. These teachings do not merely describe the universe, they reveal its architecture, the underlying framework upon which all things are built. To explore these core themes is to walk among the stars while keeping one foot firmly planted on the earth, bridging the mystical and the practical, the infinite and the immediate. The principle of mentalism, the universe as thought. At the heart of Hermetic philosophy lies this foundational truth: the all is mind, the universe is mental. This idea is both startling and profound, suggesting that reality itself is a construct of consciousness. Imagine standing before a vast canvas upon which every possible image could be painted. The painter is the all, the brushstrokes are thoughts, and the finished paintings are the worlds we perceive. In much the same way, the universe is said to be the creation of a divine mind, a primordial awareness whose thoughts give rise to galaxies, oceans, and living beings. But this principle does not stop at the cosmic scale. It extends to the individual as well. If the universe is mental, then our minds are microcosms of this greater whole. Every thought we think, every belief we hold, ripples outward, shaping the reality we experience. We are not passive observers of life, but active participants, co-creators in the unfolding drama of existence. To change your internal dialogue is to reshape your external experience. This realization carries staggering implications. Our beliefs act as brushstrokes on the canvas of reality, the principle of correspondence, the fractal nature of existence, as above, so below, as within, so without. This timeless axiom serves as a bridge between the macrocosm and the microcosm, affirming that the patterns governing the vastness of the cosmos are mirrored in the minutiae of our daily lives. Picture a tree in winter, its branches bare and skeletal against the grey sky. Now imagine a river delta seen from above, its tributaries branching out like the roots of some colossal plant. The resemblance is no accident. Nature operates according to universal laws, and these laws repeat themselves across scales, from the smallest atom to the largest galaxy. What happens in the heavens finds its echo on Earth, and what stirs within us manifests in the outer world. This principle invites us to look beyond appearances and recognize the hidden correspondences that bind all things together. It teaches us to see the forest in the trees and the stars in the grains of sand. A mystic gazing at the stars is also reading the map of the soul. The principle of vibration, the music of the spheres. Nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates. Modern science confirms what the ancients intuited, that all matter is energy in motion, a dance of particles oscillating at different frequencies. But Hermeticism takes this further. Thought, emotion, and even destiny are vibrational phenomena. Consider the strings of a harp, each vibrating at a specific frequency to produce a unique note. Together, these notes form chords, melodies, and symphonies, a harmonious whole born of countless individual vibrations. Similarly, everything in the universe vibrates, from the tiniest subatomic particle to the most massive celestial body. Even our thoughts and emotions have their own frequencies, influencing the energy fields around us. Fear hums at a low, dense frequency. Love resonates at a higher, more refined pitch. To alter one's state of being is to change one's vibration. Sacred music, incantations, and mantras are tools for tuning the self to desired frequencies, aligning with the harmonies of the cosmos. Mastery of this principle allows us to attune ourselves to the rhythms of existence, moving with its currents rather than against them. The principle of polarity, the dance of opposites. Everything is dual, everything has poles, everything has its pair of opposites. Hot and cold, light and dark, joy and sorrow, all exist in relation to one another, inseparable yet distinct. This principle challenges us to transcend simplistic dichotomies and embrace the paradoxical nature of reality. For instance, consider the concept of growth. A seed must first descend into the darkness of the soil, breaking apart and seeming to die before it can ascend toward the light as a sprout. Without the darkness, there would be no emergence into light. Similarly, our struggles and triumphs are intertwined, each giving meaning to the other. To understand polarity is to recognize that life's dualities are not enemies, but partners in a cosmic dance. Pain and joy, success and failure are teachers, guiding us toward balance and wholeness. The master alchemist does not reject lead in favor of gold, but understands that one contains the seed of the other. In human experience, transcendence lies not in choosing one pole over another, but in rising above the illusion of separation. The principle of rhythm, the eternal pendulum. Everything flows, out and in. Everything has its tides. Like the ebb and flow of the ocean, life moves in cycles. Seasons turn, fortunes rise and fall, and even civilizations rise and crumble. This principle reminds us that nothing remains static. The universe breathes, expansion and contraction, action and repose, growth and decay. Those who understand rhythm do not resist the natural oscillations of life, but move with them. They know that every retreat prepares for an advance. Every night births a new dawn. When misfortune comes, they do not despair, for they recognize it as the backward swing of a pendulum that must, by law, return. Mastery of this principle lies in embracing change rather than resisting it, finding stability amidst the flux. The principle of cause and effect, the web of karma. Every cause has its effect. Every effect has its cause. Chance is but a name, for law not yet recognized. The Hermeticist sees the universe as an intricate web where every thought, word and deed sends ripples across the fabric of destiny. This is not fatalism, but empowerment. If every action generates a consequence, then conscious action generates conscious results. To master this principle is to become a deliberate creator rather than a passive experiencer of life. By aligning our thoughts and actions with our deepest values and intentions, we steer our lives in directions that reflect our highest aspirations. Every choice matters, for it shapes the tapestry of our existence. The principle of gender, the creative duality. Gender is in everything. Everything has masculine and feminine principles. This principle transcends biological distinctions, speaking instead to the dynamic interplay of forces that drive creation. The masculine principle represents the active, initiating force, while the feminine embodies receptivity and nurturing. Together, they form a sacred union, a dance of complementary energies that gives rise to new life. In every act of creation, these two must unite: the thinker and the thought, the seed and the soil, the electric spark and the magnetic field. The balance between these energies is the key to mastery. Too much assertion without receptivity leads to burnout. Too much passivity without action leads to stagnation. The alchemy of gender is the alchemy of harmony, the living synthesis. These 7 principles are not separate laws, but different faces of a single unified truth. To study one is to glimpse the others, for they interpenetrate like colors in a prism. The Kybalion does not offer dogma, but a lens, a way of seeing that transforms the seer. As we move forward, let us carry these insights with us, allowing them to illuminate the path ahead. Shall we proceed to the next section on deeper symbolic? Narratives, the living myths of Hermetic wisdom. The 7 Hermetic principles are not cold, abstract doctrines. They pulse with the rhythm of existence, alive in the stories and symbols that have guided seekers across ages. To truly grasp their depth, we must turn to allegories, timeless tales that breathe life into these truths, transforming them from intellectual concepts into visceral experiences. These narratives are ancient mirrors, reflecting the unseen patterns of the universe back to us in ways that resonate deeply with the human soul. Through them, we glimpse the invisible architecture of existence and our place within it. The weaver and the loom, vibration in motion. In a forgotten village nestled at the edge of an endless forest, there lived an old woman known simply as the weaver. Her loom was unlike any other, for it wove not cloth, but reality itself. Each thread she pulled shimmered with a different hue, some golden and radiant, others shadowy and indistinct. As she worked, the threads intertwined, forming intricate patterns that rippled outward, touching the lives of everyone in the village. One day, a young apprentice approached her, curious about the nature of her craft. "How do you decide which threads to use?" he asked. The weaver smiled softly and replied, "I do not decide, I listen. Each thread carries a vibration, a song that tells me where it belongs. Some sing of joy, others of sorrow, but all are necessary to complete the tapestry." This story echoes the principle of vibration, reminding us that every thought, emotion, and action carries its own frequency, contributing to the grand design of existence. Like the weaver, we are called to attune ourselves to the vibrations around us, weaving our lives with intention and care. Sacred music, incantations, and mantras become tools for aligning with these frequencies, allowing us to harmonize with the cosmos. The dance of the twins, polarity and harmony. Long ago, in a realm beyond time, 2 beings were born together, inseparable yet opposite in every way. One was light incarnate, radiating warmth and brilliance, while the other embodied darkness, cool and enigmatic. For eons, they circled one another, locked in an eternal dance. At times, their movements were harmonious, creating breathtaking patterns of balance and beauty. But at other moments, their steps clashed, sending ripples of discord through the fabric of their world. Despite their struggles, neither could exist without the other. When the light grew too bright, it burned away the shadows needed for depth and contrast. When the darkness became overwhelming, it smothered the spark of hope. Over centuries, they learned to honor their differences, finding strength in their unity. This narrative captures the essence of polarity, teaching us that opposites are not adversaries, but partners in creation. Joy requires sorrow to give it meaning, just as growth demands both planting and pruning. To embrace this truth is to find harmony within ourselves and the world. The Ouroboros, the serpent swallowing its own tail, symbolizes this eternal cycle, where endings and beginnings flow seamlessly into one another. The parable of the river and the mountain. Rhythm in flow once, a mighty river flowed endlessly toward the sea, carving its path through valleys and plains. Along its journey, it encountered a towering mountain, steadfast and immovable. The river battered against the mountain's base, furious at being blocked. Yet no matter how fiercely it surged, the mountain remained unyielding. Exhausted, the river eventually slowed, pooling at the mountain's feet. There, in the stillness, it noticed something extraordinary. The mountain was not its enemy, but its teacher. By forcing the river to pause, the mountain had allowed it to gather strength and clarity. When the river resumed its course, it did so with renewed purpose, flowing around the mountain rather than trying to conquer it. This story teaches us the principle of rhythm, reminding us to respect the natural oscillations of life. Just as the river learns to flow with grace, we too are called to trust the cycles of expansion and contraction, action and repose. Every retreat prepares for an advance. Every night births a new dawn, Mastery lies in embracing change rather than resisting it. The legend of the dream architect, mentalism in action. In a distant kingdom, there lived a sage who claimed to have mastered the art of shaping dreams. Each night, he would enter the minds of those seeking guidance, crafting vivid landscapes that revealed hidden truths. One evening, a troubled man approached him, desperate to escape his recurring nightmares. The sage agreed to help, but warned the man that the journey would be perilous. Together, they descended into the labyrinth of the man's subconscious, navigating shadowy corridors and confronting fearsome creatures born of doubt and despair. At last, they reached the heart of the maze, where the man discovered the source of his nightmares. A single, flickering candle representing his belief in his own unworthiness. With the sage's guidance, he extinguished the flame, replacing it with a new light fueled by self-compassion. From that night on, his dreams transformed, filled with images of peace and possibility. This allegory underscores the power of mentalism, reminding us that our inner world creates the outer one. To change your perception of the world is to reshape the world itself. As the alchemist bent over his flasks, we refine our thoughts and beliefs, transmuting leaden fears into golden awareness. The myth of the eternal garden, gender imbalance in. This tale, a sacred garden existed at the center of the universe, tended by two guardians, a luminous figure cloaked in sunlight and a serene counterpart draped in moonlight. Together, they nurtured the garden, ensuring that every plant, flower, and tree flourished. The sunlit guardian sowed seeds of inspiration, while the moonlit guardian watered them with patience and care. Without either, the garden would wither. Over time, visitors came to learn from the guardians, discovering that true growth required both masculine initiative and feminine receptivity. This myth reflects the creative interplay of gender, emphasizing the importance of balance in all endeavors. Whether birthing ideas, relationships, or projects, we must honor both the spark of creation and the nurturing soil that allows it to take root. The hieros gamos, the sacred marriage of opposites, represents this union, a fusion of active and receptive forces that gives rise to new life. The phoenix and the fire of rebirth, vibration. Ascendant from the ashes of its own destruction, the phoenix rises anew. This mythical bird does not merely die and revive, it is consumed by flame, reduced to nothingness, only to emerge in greater splendor. Here, we witness vibration in its most dramatic form. The phoenix's cycle of death and rebirth is not a linear process but a spiral ascent, each iteration carrying it to a higher octave of existence. Fire, the great transformer, represents the alchemical power of vibration, the ability of energy to break down old forms and reconstitute them at a new frequency. The initiate learns from the phoenix. What appears to be an end is often a recalibration, a shift in vibration, preparing the way for a greater becoming. This symbol speaks directly to the soul, bypassing the intellect to resonate with the deepest layers of our being. The cosmic tapestry, cause and effect, woven together. Imagine a cosmic weaver seated before an immense loom. Each thread she places is a cause. Each intersecting strand is an effect. The tapestry she creates is vast and intricate, depicting all of existence in its interwoven glory. No thread stands alone. Every action reverberates through the whole. But the Hermeticist knows something more. The weaver is not some distant, indifferent force. She is the higher self, the conscious mind that can, with wisdom, choose which threads to spin and where to place them. To recognize this is to cease being a passive spectator of fate and become an active participant in its design. Every choice matters, for it shapes the tapestry of our existence. The law of cause and effect reminds us that chance is a name for law that is not yet recognized. The living myths. These stories are not relics of the past, but living currents running through the veins of existence. They invite us to see the Hermetic principles, not as distant theories, but as forces to be engaged. The symbols speak in a language older than words, bypassing the intellect to resonate directly with the soul. Through them, we step into the heart of the Kybalion, feeling its wisdom as much as understanding it, the threshold of knowledge and being as. We bring this exploration of the Kybalion to a close. Let us pause and reflect on the journey we have undertaken. Together, we have ventured into the depths of Hermetic wisdom, uncovering the timeless principles that govern the universe and, by extension, our own lives. These teachings are not relics of an ancient past, but living truths, as relevant today as they were when first inscribed. Beneath the surface chaos of existence lies a profound order, an architecture of thought, vibration, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, and creative balance. To engage with these principles is not merely to understand them intellectually, but to allow them to reshape how we see ourselves and the world around us. Throughout this odyssey, we have seen how each principle acts as both a mirror and a map. As mirrors, they reflect the hidden patterns of reality, revealing the interconnectedness of all things. As maps, they guide us toward alignment with the natural flow of the cosmos, offering tools for navigating life's complexities with grace and intention. From the principle of mentalism, which places the power of creation in our hands, to the principle of gender, which celebrates the interplay of complementary forces, these doctrines invite us to step into our roles as conscious co-creators of our reality. They challenge us to move beyond passive observation and embrace the responsibility and the privilege of shaping our lives with purpose. Yet, knowledge alone is not enough. The true measure of our engagement with the Kybalion lies in how we integrate its teachings into the fabric of our daily existence. Consider the moments when you last faced a challenge or made a decision. Did you approach it with awareness of the vibrations you were emitting? Did you recognize the rhythms at play and trust the ebb before the flow? Or did you resist, clinging to old patterns that no longer serve you? Each moment offers an opportunity to apply these principles, to attune yourself to the deeper currents of existence and align your actions with the universal laws that sustain all life. It is in these small, seemingly insignificant choices that transformation begins. Transformation, the alchemy of presence. Transformation, however, is not a destination, but a process, a continual unfolding of self-discovery and growth. To live, according to the Hermetic principles, is to embark on a lifelong journey of refinement, where every experience becomes a lesson and every obstacle a teacher. Imagine standing at the edge of a vast ocean, watching the waves crash against the shore. At first glance, the scene appears chaotic and unpredictable, but look closer, and you will see the underlying rhythm, the steady pulse of the tide, the harmonious dance of water and wind. So too is life. Beneath its apparent randomness lies a divine order, waiting to be understood and embraced. By cultivating awareness of this order, we learn to surf the waves rather than be overwhelmed by them. This integration requires courage to confront the shadows within ourselves, to acknowledge the dualities that define our existence, and to take ownership of the energy we project into the world. It demands that we release the illusion of control and instead trust in the wisdom of the universe, knowing that every action carries consequences, every thought ripples outward, and every cycle has its purpose. In doing so, we transcend fear and doubt, stepping into a state of empowerment and clarity. The call to living mastery. The Kybalion's final lesson is this: these principles are already operating in your life. You're just unaware of most of them. Like gravity, they work whether you believe in them or not. The difference between stumbling through reality and directing your destiny comes down to one choice: conscious collaboration with these eternal laws. Your transformational journey begins with a single question, asked with ruthless honesty. Which principle am I most resisting? In my life right now, is it mentalism, still doubting your thoughts shape reality? Is it polarity, refusing to see the gift hidden in your greatest challenge? Is it gender, overusing action while neglecting receptivity? Wherever your resistance lies, That's your threshold. Cross it. Daily practices for integration. To support this journey, here are simple yet powerful practices to weave the Hermetic principles into your daily life. Morning. Mental alchemy. Before checking devices, spend 5 minutes declaring your sovereignty. Over perception. Say aloud, "Today, I choose to see challenges as opportunities, strangers as teachers, and setbacks as disguised blessings." Polarity. Flip. When irritation arises, traffic jams, criticism, immediately identify and invoke the opposite quality. Practice patience, gratitude, or compassion. Evening. Causality review. Reflect on 3 key moments where your thoughts or actions created observable effects. This builds intuitive mastery of cause and effect. Cultivate the witness self. Beyond all techniques lies the most potent practice, observing your emotions, successes, and failures without judgment. From this vantage point, you dissolve the illusion of separation and align with the interconnected vibration of existence. The eternal dance awaits. The beauty of the Kybalion lies in its universality. Its principles are not confined to anyone, culture, era, or belief system. They belong to humanity itself, offering a shared language through which we can understand the mysteries of existence. Whether you are a seeker of spiritual truth, a student of philosophy, or simply someone yearning for greater meaning in your life, these teachings provide a framework for exploring the infinite possibilities of being. They remind us that we are not separate from the cosmos, but integral parts of it, threads woven into the grand tapestry of creation. And so, I leave you with a call, not to perfection, but to presence. To present in your thoughts, your actions, your relationships, and your dreams. Let the principle of mentalism inspire you to craft your reality with intention. Let correspondence guide you to see the sacred connections between the microcosm and the macrocosm. Let vibration teach you to attune your energy to the frequencies of love, joy, and peace. Let polarity show you the value of opposites and the strength found in balance. Let rhythm remind you to flow with life's cycles, trusting that every low tide precedes a high. Let cause and effect empower you to act with integrity, knowing that your choices shape the world. And let gender celebrate the dynamic interplay of forces within and around you, honoring the creative potential that arises when opposites unite. In closing, remember this: the universe breathes, and so do you. You are both the observer and the observed, the creator and the created. By embracing the 7 Hermetic principles, you step into harmony with the eternal dance of existence, becoming not just a participant, but a partner in the unfolding of all that is. May this journey continue to unfold within you, guiding you ever deeper into the mystery and majesty of life.